wrestling fans, F and True followers, and members of the WC. Brian Crazy here with F and Brand of Wrestling and Entertainment here on YouTube.com. Back with my Monday Night Raw review from January 9th, 2011. Raw was a pretty good show. We saw Kane stalk not only John Cena, but Zack Ryder throughout the night until he ended up beating down on both of these superstars. We also saw Chris Jericho come out and yet again not say a word until we ended up looking choked up and walking off stage. We saw Funk-asaurus Rex, Brodus Clay, finally make his big debut. He's a lot different than the character that he portrayed a few months ago when he was basically the bodyguard to Alberto Del Rio. He is still brutal in the ring. You could tell he's still got that sheer force and that sheer power. Still got his size behind him, but he is now playing a fun-loving character, very reminiscent to Flash Funk. If you go back and watch some of the Flash Funk promos, very reminiscent to Flash Funk and the Funkettes. Also reminds me kind of Rikishi, a few other superstars that had a similar gimmick, I should say. Godfather, maybe throw him in there as well. But it was a pretty good night on Raw. We saw Sheamus and Santino pick up the win over Bear and Mahal after Sheamus landed a huge bro kick on Mahal and Santino landed the Cobra on Mahal. Edge was then announced for the Hall of Fame class of 2012, and I just put up a video on my Fight Nation Wrestling site of a huge, huge speculated name for the 2012 Hall of Fame. Please check that out. Then we go into John Laurinaitis and The Miz backstage. Laurinaitis says to The Miz, hey, you brought this on yourself. And then he goes, hey, I ain't a little Jimmy, but I am Big Johnny. You know, just another classic line from John Laurinaitis. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Then we see Zack and Eve backstage. Zack basically asks Eve out, and Eve agrees after her match. She doesn't know who she's fighting yet, and she is going to be quite surprised to see who comes out. Then we go into Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston. Daniel Bryan picks up the win via LaBelle lock. Then we go into the Funk-asaurus Brodus Clay comes out. He makes his huge debut. I like what they've done with Brodus Clay. I want to know your guys' thoughts. He picks up the win over Kurt Hawkins, former one half of the Major Brothers, formerly part of Hawkins and Ryder. If you guys haven't been following the product long enough or just recently got back into it or maybe missed this team. Then we go into Zack Ryder backstage in the bathroom. He's getting cleaned up for his date later on in the night with Eve. Kane is stalking him. He looks behind him and no one's there, but he's even more shooken up. And throughout the night, Ryder is just going to keep getting stalked by Kane. Then we go into Miz backstage. He's with Primo, Epico, and Rosa. He's trying to get them to help. He already tried to get Mason Ryan to look after his back. No one is interested in helping the Miz in his fight against R-Truth. Then we go into Punk versus Swagger. Punk picks up the win over Swagger in a very controversial fashion. Basically, the referee only counted 2, and then he rung the bell. They showed some footage afterwards proving this. So I see these two going at it once again. Then we see Cena and Ryder backstage. Cena says, hey, man, just try to keep your cool. We're already partway through the night. We only got so much more to go. Then we see that the 4 Horsemen will be inducted to the 2012 class, part of this year's Hall of Fame. I am so excited for the 4 Horsemen. I have followed them for so long, alongside Edge. No more deserving people could be announced. Then we see Ricardo. Ricardo is threatened by the Miz to go out and call out R-Truth, so R-Truth will come to the ring and Miz can attack him. This is successful. Truth does try to attack Ricardo. This is when Miz comes in. Miz ends up getting beat down by R-Truth until he escapes through the crowd. Then we see Chris Jericho comes out. He comes out, does not say a word yet again. I don't know where they're really going with this, but he looked like he got a little choked up after the fans' reaction to him. I want to know your guys' thoughts. Then we see Eve, Kane, and Zack Ryder. Eve is supposed to have a match. Kane comes out. Zack Ryder tries to make the save. They end up running out. There's a flat tire on the car. Just a whole segment unfolds. Then we go into Dolph versus Cena. This is when Kane actually catches up with Zack Ryder. He's beating him down. Cena walks out during his match to try to save Zack Ryder. Kane ends up ambushing him and choking him out with that same maneuver he's used the last few weeks where he covers his face with the glove. I don't know if the glove is soaked with ether like The Undertaker used to use, or is he just suffocating the life out of him? I want to know your guys' thoughts. I enjoyed Raw. I'm sorry this wasn't a little more detailed. Like I've told you guys in the last few of my videos, I recently took a new position, so I'm trying to squeeze these in when I can. but I want you guys to know that I care about all the fans out there, and I appreciate that you guys have followed this channel for so long. For the effing brand of wrestling and entertainment here on YouTube.com, my name is Brian Crazy. I am the founder of the effing brand. Please drop your comments below, and I'll catch you later.